Just the contract extension, what it means to you, and the school having confidence in you to keep this job.
Absolutely. I couldn't obviously start with Coach Key and thank him enough, for his commitment to Georgia Tech. That's the best thing about working for Coach Key. He absolutely loves this place. He wants to do everything he can to win. He takes care of his staff. I'm just grateful for him and the opportunity, and very understanding that we got a job to do for Georgia Tech and Coach Key. Obviously, Dr. Cabrera and what he's done for this program over the last several years and the commitment that he's made, obviously it speaks, right? So super excited, other guys, obviously Jay Batt and what he did in his 2 years here, and John Palumbo and obviously Ryan coming on now. I mean, what a better time to be at Georgia Tech. Being in the state means a lot to me. I've said that over the last couple of years. There's not another place in the world I'd rather be. I've said it. I mean it. And just really excited about, what the future holds, for this place.
You look at your wide receiver room, not only is it deep, but you have a lot of talent there. When the season starts, does that allow you to keep fresh legs on the field at all times, when maybe the DBs are a little tired?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the deepest group that we've had, coming into the season. We've got, a bunch of guys that have been in the program, and then obviously we were able to bring in a couple guys that have played a lot of football, right? We don't have a lot of guys other than Malik that have a lot of production here at Georgia Tech, but we've had guys that have been in the program now for 2 years. We feel really good about our depth. We feel like there's not a drop-off. And, obviously going into the year, we'd love to play multiple guys, and that's something we've made clear. But, it's like I tell them, that's up to them to get on the field, right? We're going to play the best players, the guys that can help impact the game, learn the offense, and do the things that it takes to win football games.
Kind of make the rounds back here. Go ahead. Question for you, Coach. So I'm sure you probably don't read, obviously, the headlines a lot, but just you were recently recognized as the top offensive coordinator, in the country. Just what does that mean to you, just kind of seeing your work, obviously recognized and obviously just as a fun of a mind that you have on offense?
Well, what it says is we got great players here. We got great commitment, from the head coach, all right? And we got a great staff, right? It's not just one man. There's a slew of guys in there, all the way down from obviously Jeep Wade, Norval McKenzie, Chris Winkie. We've all been here now for 3 years together. And then Trent McKnight the last 2 years, right? And then there's other guys, Dylan Dockery, A.J. Erdley, DeAndre Smelter, right? Those guys have been phenomenal in everything that we ask them to do with ideas, presenting different things. And then we added Brian Bohannon, who's a guy that's been a head coach for 13 years, got great offensive ideas. He brings whole nother element to what we're trying to do, right? So we got a great staff, and that's where that goes. That's for all of us.
Coach, obviously going into a season has to feel good knowing that you've got players that can achieve. To have that big three of Haynes, Jamal, of course Malik, what does it mean to have those guys that you can rely on for sure and be able to build around them to make sure that this group is ready for the season coming?
Well, I think the biggest thing with those three guys is they've got a bunch of reps, game reps, so which it allows us to develop some other guys and bring them along because we're going to need more than those three to try to reach all our goals. So obviously having a guy that's really going on his either 6th or 7th year now, and Haynes King, and his 3rd year in our offense is, that's what you want. You want a veteran guy, and we've got that. And then obviously Jamal and what he's done, and we go back at the end of the season and we look, okay, how can we get to where Jamal's at his best? And one thing is when Jamal's fresh, and in our eyes, when he's going into the game fresh, he's had over 100 yards in I think 9 of those games or 8 of those games or whatever that number was that we felt really good going into the game. So that's big for us. And then Malik's leadership, everything that he brings to this offense is you can't put a price tag on that, right? He's phenomenal. He could coach the receivers. He'll be a great coach if he ever decides, when he gets done playing that's what he wants to do. And I'd love to have him in that capacity one day. So, but just those three guys are obviously the leaders there, and we got to bring a lot of other guys along that, like I said, have played, just don't have the production that those guys have.
Coach, you talk about the depth on this team. One thing that I've noticed, just in a small sample size, just the confidence in this team, the way this team's flying around. It's a different vibe. You can see how confident on the field. How does that confidence relate to Fridays and Saturdays?
Well, I think it starts with the head coach, right, and what he's built for the last 2 years, and the way he's developed the program off season with our strength staff and everything that those guys do. Those guys don't get mentioned a lot, but they're a lot of it. AJ and his staff are phenomenal, and everything they did this summer, leading into where we're at right now, and really building this thing to where we want it to go, right? So, but like I said, it starts with Coach Key, the mentality he sets. He loves this place, and if you don't love this place, then you're probably at the wrong place. So, but yeah, just that's where it's at, and some of that is the veteran leadership that we just talked about with those three guys. And then we've had guys that have been in the program now, and they understand what that takes. Okay, we're not there yet, but we're still trying to get there. But it's a fun group to coach. Tell our staff all the time. We are very, very fortunate that we get to coach this group. And they're smart, they're tough, they do everything we ask them to do on a day-to-day basis. They come to work and they love football, so it's fun to be around them.
Talked about the vertical passing game during the spring and kind of that being a priority to use that a little bit more this year than last year when kind of things dictated otherwise. How far has that come over the summer, and kind of how do you feel about that kind of being a threat in the offense going into the season?
Well, it's something that we know that we have to be able to do to be able to, again, reach our goals. You look across the country last year, and the teams that had the best records in their conference, a lot of them were really good at throwing the ball. Not say they couldn't run the ball, right, but their passing statistics were really good. So we're trying to get up there in that. I think it helps having a guy back in the third year, right, and also think having more depth on the perimeter helps. But some of that last year is hard to say with what happened with Haynes of where it could have gone, right? So, but we got him back full speed. He's looked great the last 2 days. He's taken on a really good leadership role, and we're making an emphasis of that, right? And he's fired up for it. Any quarterback would want to throw it down the field.
It was a tough year injury-wise for the running back room last year, starting with the Virginia Tech game. What do you see from the room this year, and specifically, what are you seeing from the two young freshmen that have high potential?
And stuff we talk about all the time. I do believe this is the deepest room that we've had. I think we got 6 guys that we can roll out there. Dalen Gordon, a guy I haven't seen much of as far as on offense over the last couple of years, just continues to flash, right? He's got great presence, great leadership in everything that he does and the way he goes about his business. And then Traylon Maddox, who's the ultimate pro, right? He's had, multiple injuries, but hopefully he can stay healthy. He's another guy. And then obviously Malachi Hosley we added. And then, JP and Shane Marshall have both flashed. 2 kids that just, Shane just getting here. And the way he's been able to pick things up in 2 days is very impressive and, a testament to his high school program down there at Irwin County. So we're really excited about that room. Like I said, I think it's the deepest we've been. And we've got some good battles going on to get on the field there.
Yes. Overall question for your offense, what's the next step for this offense in maybe sort of evolutionary sense?
Absolutely, and it's like we talked about in the spring. It's being able to throw the ball when we need to throw the ball, being able to be explosive in the passing game, not just every other game, but when we need it or when we want to be able to do it. That's the biggest step that we got to take. Now, we're always going to do what it takes to win games, and that's what I love about Coach Key. He always puts together a plan, right, to win the game, and each one of those could be different. So, that's the best part about it, but that is the next element to what we want to do offensively.
Just being able to do it on demand.
Being able to do it on demand, right? We cut some things down, do some things more that he's comfortable with, and let him go play football. Because when he just goes and plays football, and like we told him, a few days ago, going into this year, go be you, right? And that's what we want him to do. Don't try to be anybody else. Just go be Haynes King, and the chips will fall where they need to. Excuse me.
Obviously, like you talked about Haynes King being back this year, experienced, he's healthy. Obviously, he's a starter. Then you got Aaron Fowler that kind of came on into last year and showed. Do you see a role for him in the offense, or just kind of more about being patient for him and waiting for his turn?
yeah, we're fortunate, not just with Aaron Philo, but we've got 2 other guys in that room that I think got a chance to be good players as well. So it's a very deep room. Philo has proven that he can go into game in tough situations and go deliver the football. Some of the biggest situations all of last year, he was able to go in and win games, right? So I think he played in the 4 games, and you saw what he did when his number was called, right? Obviously the Miami game, excuse me, with the 3rd down conversions. Like, go back and watch that tape, and then go watch the NC State game, right? So we feel confident in that room. We feel confident in Aaron, but Haynes King is, like I said, he's the leader of this football team, and I can't wait to watch him play this year.
Time for a couple more.
Coach, you've mentioned that your running back room feels like the deepest it's ever been. Wide receiver room, deep as that has ever been. You feel confident with the group that you have at QB. I guess for you, I'm curious. I'm sure part of that is just coach speak, but also just the idea for you, like being able to look around your program and be able to see the guys that you have. How much confidence does that give you? Does that allow you the opportunity to open things up a little bit more? Does that make you excited? Where do you kind of feel when you see as much talent on the field as you've seen so far?
Sometimes it makes it harder because you got to figure out a way to get them all the ball. They all want it. So the biggest thing that gives you comfort in knowing is you got depth, right? And that's where it all stems from. If you want to play all the way to where we want to play, deep into the playoffs, you got to have depth, right? Football is a violent sport, and that's the biggest thing. And I think that's one thing we've addressed here over the last 2 years is just trying to get deeper, faster, bigger, stronger, all those things. Doesn't make us better yet, right? But we have been able to do that. And, up front, I think we're bigger, more athletic, and all those things, but we hadn't played, right? And there's no substitute for experience. So those are the things that we've got to build. Same thing at the tight end room. We get Brett Seither back. Nate's done a phenomenal job of always going out and addressing the needs that we need, to bring into that room. And JT Burnham has been an unbelievable addition, just instant leadership, instant energy. And, so that room will look a little different. Luke Harpering is coming on, and we're really excited about his skill set as well. He can do a lot. And so, just building depth and trying to get it to where we want to go.
Rob, you want to finish this off here?
You got 3 pretty good quarterbacks returning, and now Grady comes in as a freshman. What are your goals for him to get acclimated to what you're trying to do this year?
Yeah, it's what I tell everybody all the time. The best thing about the situation that Grady's in, right, is he gets to come in and there's no pressure on him, okay? He gets to come in, he gets to learn the offense, okay? Right now, in theory, there's a senior that's starting. So it's great timing for him. Come in, learn it. We're deep in the room. I think when that position gets impatient, right, you see guys leave programs, you see, all those different things. But the guys that stay, learn the offense, right, they get millions of reps at that position. It takes them millions of reps, right? They end up better in the long run. And we're excited about him. He's shown a lot of promise, since he got here this summer. And I think it's a really, really good situation for him to be in. And us, obviously, here at Georgia Tech.